Is this thing on? Hey kids, are we live? I know I'm late, but you know, I just want to make sure we're live. Let's hope we're live. Hold on a second. Okay, let's get my phone, shall we? We're live, alright. Yeah, hi. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. In this case, you know, we are live. It is a late night now. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for your late night. Well, it was the day of, but technically, you know, we're still gonna call it day of. It is time for your day of Clash at the Castle 2024 review. So they did their Clash at the Castle show earlier today. Um, I was planning to definitely do the review live that time. I was very tired, but also not just that. I was watching the media scrum. They did a media scrum after that, so I was like, you know, fuck it. Let's watch it. Let's see how it goes, because it does, you know, again, they want to try to make the media scrum important or whatever the fuck. So, yeah, let's. Okay, I'm just on my phone just to have making sure. Okay. Anyways, so media scrum happened, so that's why I didn't do the review earlier than I wanted to. But I mean, it is what it is. Not that I guess it matters. You know, it's still the day of, so we're gonna talk about the show still. I don't think, and plus, you know, I guess why not? I'm okay with doing that right now. But yeah, Clash of the Castle 2024. This show was not better than the previous Clash of the Castle at all. I feel like the show that they had back in 2 years ago, back in September 2022, that was a way better show, way different feel, and it felt more grandeur in my opinion. But that didn't mean the show was bad. Actually, the show was not bad. Actually, I will go on to say the show it was actually not bad. I do think the show was better, honestly, um, than Backlash, than was it King of the Ring? I do think as far as quality, the show was better than the previous premium live events. Um, Aside from the crowd being very smarky, the crowd obviously was very smarky. They acted like smarks, you know, just chanting stupid shit. I know smarks like that because, you know, get it? Because, you know, we like to fucking make the show about themselves or whatever. And yeah, they'll chant funny shit. And I know I'm dressing maybe Scottish colors, you know, why not? Because, yeah. I don't know, in honor of my like Scottish chicks, you know? Oh shit, indeed. Other than that, the show wasn't bad actually. You know what I mean? It wasn't bad. Um, so no, it was actually a good. It was actually not a bad show. It was a not bad show. It was actually good. You know, I do think um, how they formatted the show was not too bad, and how they did the show. Just the quality was actually not too bad. The matches were not bad actually. Well, the main two matches I would say, or three matches. You had five matches. Two of them were the women. Who the fuck really cares women's goddamn wrestling? So whatever. Yeah, that's that's basically what happened with the show. Show wasn't bad. Um, I kind of forget what I was gonna say. I know I fell asleep at the time, like after the show ended, after the media scrum, so I was so tired. I kind of forget what I was gonna say and stuff like that. But I think I'm gonna remember what I'm gonna say eventually. But yeah, the show wasn't bad. The show was in Scotland. We had four people from Scotland in the show, like, because you know, I was actually thinking like everybody from Scotland was gonna lose, you know, because like that's how sadly like you know how it looked like, but they literally gave they throw Scotland a bone that they actually made like one of the matches where the Scotland people won. Yeah, which I guess you know gave a little bone because like reality nobody cares about the women's goddamn tag titles. That's why they literally had the fucking chicks from Scotland won. Which I have no problem with because again the chicks are kind of hot, you know. They're invited by Big Black Couch, we didn't go oh shit. But treat a nice Coca-Cola and start this class magnificently. So yeah, I have no problem with that at all. So yeah, regardless, the show was actually not too bad. There were some good stories told throughout the show. I mean, I know I complained that there's no stories, it's just mainly the time, like, when also when there's no stories, this, like, most of the time there is no stories with a lot of matches that goes on. But when they do stories, it's just not good. But I will say they showcased, though, the matches, that the big matches with a story, they didn't do too bad. So that's why the show wasn't too bad also, and also, not just that, the matches were, like, also good, better quality, I would say. So, yeah, it's fine. I mean, did some of the matches run longer than it needed to be? Yeah, I mean, I do think that wholeheartedly. Because again, they always want to achieve, like, work rate type of shit. But I do think at the same time, the matches are not too bad. And yeah, definitely a better quality show, I would say, especially, those 5 matches. I don't think it's not a problem to have 5 matches. I get it, quality over quantity. But just because you have more than 5 matches or whatever, just like 5 matches, doesn't mean it's always going to be good. Or not just that, shouldn't excuse you for wasting time with video packages. Like, they wasted time, for example, having a Jey Uso video package. Like, why? With that time, honestly, it's not a big problem to have, like, an extra match or two. Like, back in the days when wrestling was good, didn't matter how many matches you had on the show. There was time limits, and there were set time limits where you paced the show better, where it didn't exceed certain time limits that need to be. And honestly, not every match needs to be a 5-star banger or whatever. Try to be a 5-star banger, because again, that's, like, excessive. It also takes away the unique of every match. That's kind of why I felt also at the same time, while the show wasn't bad and the matches weren't bad, it just, like, obviously overshadowed the purpose of each match. Is like, not every match needs to be longer than it needed to be. Story is always going to matter. It's always going to be there, no matter how long the match is or short. So, yeah. Anyways, grab me Coca-Cola, drink my Nisty, Spy Missing Bitches go, oh shit, oh shit. So this was, like, Drew McIntyre's home country. Obviously, he was the bigger star from Scotland. And he got screwed. People are dubbing this now the the fucking Scotland screw job. Obviously, that's a little joke, but it's whatever. Should people really be surprised though? Like, McIntyre was gonna lose? I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Cheers, motherfuckers. I mean, should anyone really be surprised? The match, like, McIntyre was gonna lose, and CM Punk was gonna be there, especially since they reported that CM Punk was gonna be on the show. Again, it's whatever. Obviously, it would have been a great moment to see McIntyre win. Yes, it would have been. But again, the story overrides the purpose. It's about story. Punk said he's gonna break McIntyre's heart. He technically did. He broke his heart. He gave him broken dreams. I even fucking titled the show, like, CM Punk breaks McIntyre's dreams. Broken dreams, right? The fucking song that everybody likes. That they always look back to, like, McIntyre's. Oh, that Steve song was so great, man. Which I get it. I get it. Especially if you played SmackDown versus Raw 2011 so many times. I remember, like, back in the day, playing SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. I honestly like that game a lot. I do think that's a very underrated game, SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. Especially back in the day when the TLC matches were crazy. The Hell in the Cell, the first time when the Hell in the Cell had weapons in a SmackDown vs. Raw game, or the PlayStation games, basically. That was man. That 2011, man. That game was very good. I like that game a lot. But other than that, again, the show. What was I gonna say? Like, are people really surprised or should be sad? And, like, McIntyre lost. Obviously, would have been a good moment. It would have been a good moment. And what they could have done if McIntyre won this show, they could have easily had him lost it on Raw. But I do think by having McIntyre lose at Clash of the Castle, it has its purpose. McIntyre lost his home state, lost the world title again, and this is all because of CM Punk. This obviously builds up the idea of Punk versus McIntyre for, like, SummerSlam. So it's not a big issue. It really isn't. So at the same time, you can't really be angry. Or you can't, it's honestly good. What they're doing with Punk and McIntyre, that is definitely one of the best feuds going on right now, especially with Punk being injured. Obviously, and I'm seeing that this now. A lot of people are that angry that they're hoping Punk to get injured again when he comes back. I get why people say that because again, it's a funny thing that Punk most likely might get injured because he is very old. But at the same time, like y'all really that bitter? Like you got worked. But again, it's not a big deal. It's not a bad problem. You know what I mean? It's really not. It's honestly kind of cool, like how they're telling the story there. So, but yeah, McIntyre and Punk, you know, stories there. Uh, is it believable Priest beating McIntyre? No, but I mean, to be fair, Priest did show himself like why he is like he kind of deserves that like to be in the top. It's just at the same time they're not booking him as right as they should be. But again, the problem with McIntyre is that you keep having him lose so much. That becomes a problem. Like you have him lose the big one so many times, it gets kind of like ruined the purpose of like who the fuck's gonna care about McIntyre winning the big one next. I mean, I understand this all story, and that's a good thing. It's just the problem is they've done it so many times where it's like, man, they make this guy like can't win the big one when it matters the most, or make when it's like a good feel good moment, which is whatever. I mean, I don't know. That's the problem with WWE. Do that a bunch of times. But whatever. I mean, at least I would say it's not a big issue. It contributes to story. And even Punk mentioned at the media scrum, which is like what I hope they mention. It's like I don't get why they don't mention like shit they do in the media scrum on television. Like what they should do is like Punk mentions like, oh, you know, why does Punk does like, because they mentioned this in the media scrum, and this is why it's so very important that I watch the media scrum. They mentioned, you know, they have these people like, oh, why not just have Punk and McIntyre for the world title? And then Punk mentions it says like, cause screw McIntyre. I don't want to have nice things. I mean, there you go. The story is right there. You know, it contributes to the story. It works. You know what I mean? But yeah, Punk was at the media scrum and people, he was eating fucking donuts. The guy freaking just looked like he was like fucking doing the same shit he did a fucking, you know, back in the media scrum. And he said, oh, I just don't like you people. Man, I like it. I like it. I like what Punk had to fucking say. It's fucking funny. Okay? It's great. It's funny. It's very funny. Very funny. Not really funny. Not funny, but it's whatever. Yeah, so that happened. I have no problem at all. No problem with that. No problem with McIntyre said and done. But yeah, that I don't see why people have to be surprised that like he lost or whatever. So, anyways, let's start by talking about the show. The show itself, the first match. First match. I mean, obviously this was one of the big matches of the show. AJ Styles, oh not AJ Styles, fucking Cody. I mean, yeah. But he lost. Cody Rhodes defeats AJ Styles. He retains the WWE title in the I Quit match. I will say the match was actually not bad. It definitely took me by surprise of how good this match was. This was actually good. I think this match was definitely far better than their Backlash match. I know Smarts pretend to claim that match was good because they were like it was long and you know they were doing Russells or indie shit. I did not like that match. I'll be honest with you, I did not. I mean, the last 10 minutes of the match was fun. It was not the worst match I've seen, but the thing is that match was not good at all. I don't get why people are acting like that match was good and that's the match that Dave Meltzer gives 5 stars to. Like really? Really? And that match is better than Michaels versus Taker at 25, Michaels versus Angle at 21. Who the fuck is calling me? Oh, I have a friend calling me. I'll be right back.
Hello?
Yeah, what's up? Sorry about that, folks. I had a friend call me. It is okay. So, I mean, I understand that's unprofessional or whatever. Yeah, but I actually should have had the conversation on the phone. We were like talking about like where we gotta go tonight or whatever. Night at the town, ladies and gentlemen. But again, this show kind of ruined my me going out of town early because unfortunately this show made me tired. Well, not tired. It wasn't a bad show. It just again I was tired, and this show had to be like early afternoon when I got again long night, whatever. But it is what it is. So started with what's his name? Oh yeah, Cody defeating Styles. This was an I Quit match. This was actually this was not a bad I Quit match. This was actually a good I Quit match. I'm surprised that this match was actually not bad. Again, I'm not a big fan of Cody Rhodes. I'm not necessarily a big fan of AJ Styles in his current state of as a wrestler. I'm not saying that he's a bad wrestler. It's just at the same time, it's like, what is really his character or whatever. And I just wish the match had more of a story than just, you beat me one-on-one, and I'm grumpy about it, and I'm gonna fake retired because again, I'm gonna pretend like I'm a bitter old man now. Like for example, this is the thing. Yes, AJ Styles is an old man. He's been wrestling since 2000 or whatever. Okay, the guy just he showed up back in 2016 in WWE. It really is not a long tenure where you get nostalgic over AJ Styles. I understand this guy was in TNA and whatever, but at the same time, AJ Styles, he was not in WWE for a long time to get nostalgia over to like, oh man, I can't believe this guy's thinking about retirement. You see, this would work if guys like Edge was to do this. If, let's say, I don't know, even Randy Orton was to do this. You know, guys who actually was a WWE guy and established themselves as a long tenured WWE guy. Same thing with Chris Jericho would be, something. But again, with AJ Styles, it's like again, you were in the company now for only 8 years. If you compare it to a long tenure, it's not really that long where people would get oh wow, this guy's gonna fake retire. That's the one thing. As compared to Mark Henry, who was in the company for longer than fucking 8 years. That's why people wow, that moment of Mark Henry being this long tenured champ and wrestler in the WWE. That's why it worked. Okay? That's why it worked for his fake retirement. Okay? But yeah, this fake retirement, him being bitter about losing and blah blah blah. I mean, there's gotta be more heat and story than that. And then but Bullet Club, New Japan, who gives a fuck? Okay? Aside from some indie shit. That's basically what it was. I just wish there was more heat to the story. You know what I mean? But hey, fine. Styles basically attacks him for a fake retirement because, he wants to be the champion, so that established get it, sure, little story, whatever. The match, though, I will say was not bad. It was actually a very good I Quit match. Probably, it was not better than Edge and Christian recently. Probably one of the few best I Quit matches probably in WWE history in a while. Because, I don't remember, was there an I Quit match recently and nobody even cared? I don't know, that's a long time. I don't remember when the last time they had an I Quit match in WWE. But it probably wasn't even that good, you know what I mean, compared to, this match, I will say. This match was definitely, not a bad match. I will go on to say that. It was definitely not a bad match. So yeah. Definitely a good match. Brutal. It actually was a brutal. For an I Quit match, it had to be brutal. So I'm happy that this match was brutal to being as an I Quit match. Because that's what it needs to be. This match needed to be brutal. And there was blood. That's the best thing. There was blood. It may have been fake. I don't know. Maybe there was it looked like it could have been fake or whatever. It looked redder than, it looked like a freaking red marker blood. But honestly, there was blood. Both men bleeding. This is the first time in years where both of the wrestlers in the same match were bleeding. So I like that a lot. I will say it added to the match. While unfortunately when Cody Rhodes bleeded, the blood faded quicker, which kind of and then by the time Styles bleeded, what? This one at a time you get to bleed basically? Really? whatever. But regardless, I'm not trying to complain much. The match was actually not bad. You know, the match was brutal. One very cool spot, actually before the match, like whatever. While the match was happening, it was brutal. They used some weapons for each other. There was variety with the weapons. They used, like, you know, they're brawling and whatever. They brawl around the crowd, also to the backstage a little bit. Eventually went back to the ringside ring. They, you know, they throw each other around the arena. They use kendo sticks. They use chairs, a steel step. AJ Styles even used handcuffs during this match. People thought it was thumbtacks. Like, what? Are we really going there? So Styles was bleeding during this match. Yeah, not Styles. I mean, both men were bleeding, but yeah, Cody bleeded eventually. Then eventually Styles, you know, while he was bleeding, he takes out that looks like resembles thumbtacks. But instead, like, oh, I got something better. He had a chain and he had handcuffs. He handcuffed Cody. He hit him with chair shots. Then Mama Rhodes was there. Cody goes to Mama Rhodes, basically confronts her about your son is stupid, whatever. But then Mama Rhodes slaps Styles. I was like thinking, like, shouldn't that make Styles want to hit Cody's mom? I mean, would that have been, I don't know, why not? Why not do something where, like, that would make Cody more angrier? I mean, that's what they should have done. They should have done something where Cody got so angry. I mean, itself, like, the idea of hitting Cody's mom, that could have been a predictable way of letting Styles win the title. You know, where Cody says, I quit, don't hurt my mom, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, in the end of the day, that would have been kind of cool to see, like, you know, Cody get angry. You know, again, he's gonna try to attack your mother. You better get fucking angry and do what you gotta do. But yeah, he hits Cody a bunch of times, but then he was about to do a phenomenal form with the chain. But then one spot, and I will say this is actually the spot of the night. This was a great spot actually for the match. Cody got a chair. And he throws it on Styles when he was about to do a phenomenal forearm. And that led to Styles. Again, good credit on the cameraman. Literally, Styles bounces off of that, and then he falls through the table. It looked like it was a great spot. The way they filmed that spot was really good. I will say that. That was spot of the night. That spot was good. Very good spot involving the table. And you forgot that there was a table there. So it's not like it was predictable where someone's going to go through the table. They built it up. They made it make sense. So I like that. That's actually good psychology. Eventually Cody got out of the handcuffs. He attacks Styles again. Eventually makes him bleed. Again, it looked like fake blood, which, okay, it's fine. At least it's blood. You know what I mean? I'm not saying the wrestler should bleed necessarily or blade. At least a little color will help the match. Again, I'm not saying that in wrestling we need to have so much blood. I'm not acting like a bloodthirsty fuck. But blood obviously helps a match. It helps certain moments of wrestling. This is why if wrestlers were to have more so blood and when it matters, it actually helps the show. It helps in terms of realism. It works. Blood is a lost art, unfortunately, in wrestling nowadays. And I get why nowadays, again, because, you know, there's safety reasons, and again, mostly because they want to be PG. They're kind of moving away from that now, because again, McMahon was so anti-blood or whatever, like especially with the PG era. I will say the positive of current era WWE, they are more open to doing blood stuff, which I like. I would like it more so on a segment. I would say, you know what they should have done? They should have fucking had, like, in terms of blood, they should have had Styles, like, when he was attacking Cody, he should have made him bleed. That would have been kind of cool. So, yeah, I will say, actually, you know, I'm happy about, like, that's the thing, where it's more so blood now in WWE. Again, I totally forgot, but it was pretty cool to remember. Again, they had The Rock and Cody with a blood segment, so, yeah. Can't go wrong with that, you know? I like that they're using some more of color in wrestling. It helps the match. anyways, but yeah, other than that, so Cody handcuffs Styles eventually. He handcuffs to the ropes. Eventually, he does what Styles did to him with a kendo stick and chairs while handcuffed. And then eventually, he got the stairs. This is obviously my big problem, and I know a lot of other people's problems with this match. This match was actually a good I Quit match. My problem was, of course, was the ending. And a lot of people have been saying this also if, like, online, and I totally agree. Cody had the steel steps, and then immediately, Styles says, "I quit." Apparently, AJ Styles is. Some people say this is AJ Styles' character where he doesn't give up easily. Which, when was that ever established? But second of all, steel steps. This guy is scared of getting hit by steel steps, which I understand, like, by logic, it's steel steps. It should be brutal. But, like, come on here. You can't handle steel steps? Unless if, let's say if, to do it more intensely and, like, constant, then sure, say I quit. That would have been better than just, oh, he was gonna get, oh, no, don't hit me, I quit. Eventually, Cody hits Styles still with the steel steps, kind of similar to John Cena and JBL, but it's kind of like more, a bit less cooler. Get it? After when he said I quit, he does it. It would have been better, again, why not use some glass? I don't know. Why couldn't you put him like, oh, Styles afraid of being put in glass or whatever? Or, what I would have done? I even thought, like, other scenarios what they could have done. They could have done, like, maybe Cody doing a big move or threatening to throw Cody off of, like, a big platform. Like, similar to how Cody basically got Style Clash outside of the freaking steel steps. I mean, that would have been a good, cool spot. Like, why not do a crossroads out off the steel steps? But, like, then he eventually do it a bigger platform where that makes Cody Rhodes, Styles says I quit, but then he does it anyway. That would have been kind of cool. Or he could have done, like, a pedigree even, because I don't think even a crossroads could have been dangerous. But again, I just felt, obviously, the ending could have been better. I agree. A lot of people would complain about the ending. And also, I honestly feel like they ripped off Edge and Christian with the ending, because it was similar to Edge and Christian, how they had their match at AEW with the I Quit match, where Christian was handcuffed onto the corner, and then Edge, he still used the freaking, the fucking Barbie, he still used, like, Spike, whatever, he calls it Spike, the whole barbed wire, spiky baseball bat. He still hits fucking Christian with the balls, and then he was about in the head, but that makes Christian says I quit. Sure, it's part of Christian's character where he'll give up easily, but, like, yeah, it worked. It was original. We just had an I Quit match. Again, keep in mind, we just had an I Quit match that ended in the same sort of way. They couldn't think of an original idea to end that match. Just saying. But regardless, the match was not bad. It was it's just obviously the ending could have been way better. I don't know, maybe you could have done something where, like, I don't know, why didn't Cody maybe do a sort of hold that would make Styles, like, give up or something like that. Something should have been, make Styles says I quit instead. I don't know. I mean, would have been kind of okay. I mean, would it have made a big issue with Styles winning the match involving Mama Rhodes? Not really, but it's just like that kind of shit has been done so many times where, like, oh, like recent, like, for example, Beth Phoenix making Ed say I quit because of her in danger. Like, you kind of do that a bunch of times, unfortunately. Same thing, like, for example, Rock versus Triple H back in, like, 1999. China was in danger. Triple H said I quit, Stuff like that has been done a bunch of times, sadly. I mean, but again, you gotta make it work type of shit. But unfortunately, that's the ending they went with. I would have wished it was a bit better, a more creative approach, and something that would have been believable to, like, okay, I have to say I quit. I get it. I'll say I quit. But at the same time, that's what, sadly, that's just how it is. I got a message or whatever. I got a call, the fuck? I don't know, fucking, what the hell is this? that's weird. Anyways, okay. A lot of weird phone calls recently. Second match. Okay, but yeah, if that match happened, that was a very good match. Yeah, a lot of people be calling me. Unless maybe some chicks. I don't know. Maybe I get some girls my number. They're calling me up right now. Who knows? You never know, folks. We then had a Jey Uso vignette. Again, this is you're wasting time. What? And Jey Uso was not on the show. What? And again, this show was basically under 3 hours. It was less than a fucking 3-hour Raw. How sad is that a show is quicker than a 3-hour Raw? Like, come on here. And they somehow are able to pace that show better than a 3-hour Raw? What are we doing? I don't know what to tell you. But regardless, that happened. The match, I don't know. So we had a Jey Uso vignette. I think they had another vignette for some other stupid wrestler that no one fucking knows or whatever. So, yeah. Actually, consulting the chat. Let's consult the chat a little bit. Lovergirl 788. Oh, by the way, like I said, it's gonna be Cody versus Orton, and it's gonna be Gunther versus Freedom. So I'm kind of not surprised. I just think if they're gonna do Cody versus Orton, I think Cody versus Orton could have been a WrestleMania match, in my honest opinion. It's whatever. I just think that with Orton, him turning heel a bunch of times has kind of been overdone, respectfully. I understand, Orton is remembered more as a better heel, but at the same time, that's just, it's just overdoing it, you know what I mean? Oh, by the way, Ray Bear was mad to see Punk making McIntyre lose to both Andrew and Punk, but, again, that's playing the character. What do you think is going to happen? It's playing the character, you know what I mean? And Money in the Bank is going to be a 6-man tag with Solo and the 2 guys versus Owens, Cody, and Orton. Again, in my honest opinion, that just feels like a SmackDown match. A SmackDown main event. Why do we get to the point where we're making matches that should be for television main events? Is that because what? The excuse of Cody doesn't need to defend the title at the pay-per-view? I'm sorry. I understand. And that's been the rumor today, where what's going to be the match that Cody has at Money in the Bank. In my honest opinion, that's just kind of lazy. It's why you have the opportunity where you could do maybe Cody versus Logan Paul again, but this time it could be both titles or some type of shit like that. Even though clearly Logan Paul is going to feud with LA Knight. But, I don't know, Logan Paul costs Logan a match? I don't know, something. LA Knight costs Logan a match, something. I don't know. I understand, the idea of Cody wanting to win the United States Championship, though, but, again, LA Knight, I would have done, if you wanted an opportunity where Cody was to win the United States Championship, because Getty's the American Nightmare, that could have been a good opportunity, and he always lose back to Logan Paul type of shit or whatever, and then LA Knight and Logan Paul could have their match at SummerSlam. Again, it's just lazy. You can't find another opponent for Cody Rhodes. Just saying, you know what I mean? I don't know. And honestly, at SummerSlam, it looks like it's going to be more so Solo versus Cody Rhodes, honestly. And that's what I think is going to happen, in my honest opinion. I think it's more so to be Solo, and because what they're going to do is that they might do something where Solo beats Team Cody, and then that would lead to the SummerSlam match. Would that make the purpose? It's whatever. I think that's what's going to happen. Honestly, that's an idea. And that money, and the chance of the main event, Jey Uso's going to win Money in the Bank and becomes champion. He can lose the Money in the Bank briefcase because of Solo. I don't know. Whatever. I'll be honest with you, with Jey Uso, they kind of ruined his prestige. Okay? They ruined his prestige. That's the problem. They ruined his prestige. And I also think, Jey Uso, that'll be kind of too early for him to win the Money in the Bank. I think Jey Uso, what they should do is have him win, mid-card titles. That's the thing. And that's the problem with a lot of wrestlers nowadays. They have these wrestlers win the world title immediately, and then they'll have them win the mid-card titles. You can't, that's not how it works. You're supposed to have the wrestlers win the mid-card titles, establish themselves as an upper mid-carder, and while they're at the point to be transitioned to the main event, that's when they can win the Money in the Bank. That's when they can win the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble, obviously, Royal Rumble and Money in the Banks should be reserved for, like, helping with stories, needing to advance the story, and then becoming the champion, or contribute to feuds. It shouldn't be all about, oh, get it, it'll be a star-making moment. No, that's not what Money in the Bank is always about. That's like a fake narrative that Smarks on the internet want to make. That's not how Money in the Bank is, or the Royal Rumble. It's not about star makers. It's about contributing to stories. So that's why I don't get why people get angry at guys like Brock Lesnar winning the Money in the Bank years ago. Why freaking, like, they got angry that Randy Orton won the Money in the Bank back in 2013. But look what happened. It contributed to the fucking story of the Authority. Well, I'm not a fan of the Authority storyline. It at least was a story. Yeet in the bank. Oh god, that's so stupid. Yeet in the bank. Come on. Whatever. Second match. Let's move on. Second match. Idol Dawn and Abel Fire, the Unholy Union, or whatever the fuck they call themselves. They defeated Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. Sassy black bitches. And who else? Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, the Man Faces. I had no problem with this, but I didn't care. I mean, good moment for the hot Scottish chicks. They're invited to my big black couch, make it go, oh shit, oh shit. But the problem with this is, again, they were not showcased on the show. What made them deserve this and why the Smarts are chanting you deserve it when they haven't been on the show? So what sense does it make that, like, how do they really deserve it when they weren't on the show? Just saying, you know what I mean? Like, how do they really deserve it? What made them deserving becoming champions when... And that's why I don't get with these you deserve it chants. Why do they deserve it when literally they have not been on the show? Just saying, you know what I mean, folks? What made them so deserving to win the... Again, it's just like, I don't get why people even... I remember this. Smarts for chanting, you deserve the Zack Ryder, when the guy who hasn't been on the show back in 2016 and he won the ladder match with the IC title. It was just so fucking stupid. Okay, how did that make any fucking sense for him to win when the guy was not on the show? And if he really deserved it, like, so much for working hard when the guy was not on the fucking show. So how does that make any fucking sense? You know what I mean? And I get why they did this. They did it because, one, they don't want to fucking basically piss over the Scottish crowd because, you know, they're going to basically have... If they didn't do this, then all their Scottish people would have lost their match. And second, and I hate to say this, but it honestly seems like the case why they did this. They did this because one of the chicks, I think it's Alba Fire, her name was like Kaylee Ray back in like NXT UK. Her mother unfortunately passed away recently, which rest in peace to her mother. Definitely a darn shame. And I think that's very fucking sad what happened. Like, unfortunately, her mother passed away in a car accident. Which sucks. I hope whoever is responsible gets their comeuppance. I really hope so. That's fucking sad. Okay? A car accident. Drunk driver paused. I mean, we never know the circumstances. But, like, that's sad. That is so tragic. And you know, if there's a way to, like, give her an award, fine, you know? Not like it matters anyways, the tag titles. I hate to say it, but, like, good for her. A lot of people say, oh, but, you know, Triple H, he said that, oh, because she's talented. I mean, if she's talented, then why wasn't she on the show? Just saying. You know what I mean? Just saying. I get why she wouldn't be on the show recently, because she has to grieve at freaking, you know, unfortunately, you know, funerals and shit like that. But, like, fuck, you know? Well, what happened prior? Why wasn't she on the show constantly prior? Just saying. I mean, it is what it is. Not that these titles matter. I will say also the problem about the show, though, there was a bunch of botches. And this match had a botch, like God, with Jade Cargill and shit like that. So much for Jade Cargill supposedly being this top star. I get it. Mistakes are gonna happen. You know, it's gonna happen. And in the main event, definitely a big mistake. I didn't mention it sadly, but I was gonna go into it more when I head to it. But that was definitely a big factor of the match. But yeah. Oh yeah, how can I forget? I'm so sorry. Before the second match, yeah, freaking Solo, he attacked Cody along with the bloodline, but then Orton and Kevin Owens, they make the save. Not a bad idea, but like Orton coming out in his trunks when he's not wrestling on the show. Okay. I was like thinking, what, they're going to like, turn this match, they're going to turn like a tag match later, which would have been not a terrible idea. I mean, they do it all the time. I mean, they could have made like a stipulation type of shit, I don't know. But like, you know, it is what it is. We did get a glimpse of Orton looking at Cody, but then he looked at the world title on his shoulder. So, like, get it, planting the seeds of a future Orton-Cody feud, which is whatever. Oh, Legacy vibes! For you smart to get nostalgic over Legacy, you guys are a bunch of faggots. That's all I have to say. I'm tired. I hate that smarts look back at Legacy as this great faction. Like, really? Legacy? You want to see a Legacy feud when Cody Rhodes looked like a fucking underwear model? And Orton was basically boner stank, where he's like fucking clean shaved it, and he's like literally looked like a penis. Like, give me a break, come on here. Like, what are we doing? But whatever, you know, whatever. But yeah, the second match, which was, you know, the unholy union, whatever the fuck they call themselves, they won. So good for them. Okay, good for them. Third match. We got the third match, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, I want to let you know that it looks like we're not going to have Cody versus Rock because it might be pushed back to 41. I mean, it should be at 4. I mean, in all honesty, we kind of need the Rock back. But it looks like the reason why they're pushing it back now is because Rock basically tore his arm a little bit. So that sucks. So what can you really do? But yeah, there was a lot of botches. The match was like definitely was very botchy in the second match. There were botches throughout the show actually. So this show was definitely remembered for its botches. That's for damn sure. Third match. Chad Gable loses. Well, I mean, I should have said Sami Zayn, but yeah, Chad Gable loses to Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn won against Chad Gable. Obviously, the story of this match was, you know, oh, will Otis help Chad Gable win? Will he, you know, do the right thing? Blah blah blah. But then at the same time, Sami Zayn keeps convincing Chad, like Otis, to not, you know, do whatever. Wait, did I mess it up? Like, you know, we have Otis being... Basically, this is about Otis, you know. Otis kept getting pushed by Chad Gable, but then Sami, you know, oh, you just gotta break free type of shit, whatever. That's what happened in the third match. Sami won, though. I felt this match was kind of long than it needed to be. I really do think so. Because they just told the same story in a shorter match. Again, I mean, the match wasn't... Just the thing is, we've seen this match a bunch of times already. It's like, when you're doing the same match, and especially with the same stipulation, where, again, it's the same regular one-on-one, it gets repetitive, and it's like, you don't need to do that. I understand, sure, like, this is one of, sadly, the few matches that also has story. But again, it's like, it's not like very exciting. But again, if you really think about it, and that this was organic, this does help Otis get over. You know, this does help Otis get over as a star. It helps Chad Gable more advance as a heel. Obviously, in my opinion, it would have been kind of cool to see Chad Gable win. But unfortunately, they're prolonging the story too much, which is a problem. And it kind of could get to the point where it's going to get a little tiring. You know what I mean? Like, what, we're going to do another match of Money in the Bank? And what? Because get it, Sammy's hometown, they're gonna have him lose there because they like to have everybody lose in their hometowns, basically. But like, I don't even know how to like. What's gonna lead to them having another match? That's the problem. How would they even lead to another match? What's gonna be the explanation? Like what? Unless like if they do this some stipulation where like, oh, if I lose this match, I can never challenge you again, or I'll retire. I mean, that's what Chad Gable basically has to do now if he wants one more shot. That's like another thing I thought of. Like, if you want to do a rematch, he has to basically demand or push Styles. I mean, Sammy. I mean, that's what Styles should have done. It should have been multiple matches, then retire type of shit, you know? But, like, he's been given so many chances by Sami Zayn, but he kept failing. But it takes where he attacks Sami Zayn even more, and then he'll put up the stipulation where if I can't beat you, I'll retire. Then that would have been, like, a good way to, yeah. You know, you're gonna go all at it for Money in the Bank, and then that's where Chad Gable wins. Maybe he'll win with the help of the Creed brothers, because that's a rumor of the idea. Why not have the Creed brothers join Chad Gable, become a new Alpha Academy or whatever? Which is not bad. I mean, it's whatever. It's whatever, you know? Wouldn't be a necessary bad idea. So, why not? But yeah, I mean, the match wasn't bad. It's just the problem with this match. It's like it was too long, you know, and yeah. I mean, but again, the match, it did help tell the story with Otis, who he's going to help pick. You know, there are moments of, you know, Chad Gable, like, you know, you better help me. Otis telling Otis, you know, you got to fulfill what you're going to do. There was a moment where he told Maxine to basically hit Sammy with a title, but then Maxine was reluctant to do that. And yeah, it kept building, you know, like, which, it's good. Eventually, we see the moment where Sammy accidentally flipped onto Otis. Maxine fall down. You know, she's very hurt. Otis is very conflicted. He was thinking of hurting one of each, but then he eventually just helps Maxine. Basically, Maxine help like, hey, don't hit Sammy, whatever. And then it leads to Otis helping Maxine. And then and then Chad Gable's like, you know, what are you doing? And then that eventually leads to Sammy beating him. Well, sure, in theory, that moment, you know, oh, great, it helps, like, you know, it kind of, you know, get it. It costs Chad Gable the match. It's fine. It's reasonable. But at the same time, we're going to have another match again, probably. Like, it should kind of be over, but it's like the wrong person won at the same time, too. Like, you're kind of ruining the momentum of the idea of Chad Gable winning the title. And honestly, Chad Gable winning the IC title would have been very justified, would be very helpful for his career and even the story, especially leading to the idea of like Otis being the one to dethrone Chad Gable, which would be pretty cool. Because what? If you were to do this whole Chad Gable team with the Creed brothers, how long would he be having the championship for? Wouldn't it be in theory be better for him to have the title for maybe like quite a lengthy reign for a little bit, maybe like a few months? Unless they build up with Otis, like, I don't know, but that's the thing. Like, they gotta really build the stories proper. But yeah, I mean, the match wasn't terrible. But at the same time, it's like, wow. Again, Chad Gable loses, and it's kind of like ruining him. I mean, it doesn't make him look weak necessarily. It's just at the same time, it's like, wow, he keeps looking like a loser. You know? He could never beat Sammy type of deal. I'll be right back. I gotta take my supplements, people. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I had to take my vitamins. Eat your vitamins, say your prayers, you know what I mean? Especially because, like, at my current life, so I am on cycle again for my, my supplements. I have to take them at a certain time. It will, like, if I don't take them at a certain time, it'll mess me up. So, yeah, that's why I had to sadly, like, leave. And also earlier, like, I had a phone call, so this is definitely a longer video than I planned, but, it helps. It's a very, again, I wish I did it earlier. But I'm trying to go as in-depth as I can with this video, because I do think it does justice. It's very important to, like, go through as much of the plans I wanted to say. Because there were things that happened in the show, and again, it did make, honestly, I'm just happy the show was not bad. Again, when there's things to talk about, it's good. So I'm going to talk about it. It's good. I'm going through the good and the bad, the ugly. That's what I have to do. You know what I mean, folks? Fourth match. Chelsea Green, I guess ejected, whatever. I don't know, whatever. Bailey defeats Piper Niven, aka Doudrop, in her hometown. This match had a bunch of botches and nobody really cared. I mean, this is where I don't care for this match. Keep in mind, Piper Niven and Chelsea Green, they've been losing a bunch of times, but this match, she gets a title match just because it's her hometown. You know what I mean? And they had like one match where they beat Bailey in some stupid tag match, and that's what got her a title shot. Like, really? Really? Whatever. Like, whatever. Did not really care for this match. That's for damn sure. Yeah. The main event. McIntyre versus Damian Priest. Yeah, another match happened in the fucking previous match. Okay, I was gonna say. I know, like, the problem with having the world title. So this is like the first time the World Heavyweight Championship main evented over the WWE Championship, and the WWE Championship was the one opened the show. I do think that is a problem. Like, that's the problem with having two World Championships again. Like, you overshadow the title. And what I would do rather is that what they could have done, they could have opened the show with the Intercontinental Championship, and then mid-show or even semi-main event, it could have been the I Quit match. That's all I would have done, probably, But I do think it would have ruined the flow of the show, too. So, at the same time, there's positives and negatives of doing what they did. But, I mean, whatever. What they did, it still kind of was alright. It just, again, I'm not a fan of world title matches opening the show, or... Again, this is why I'm still in the idea that there's really no need for two world championships. And also my problem, like, even with McIntyre, he wants to accomplish his dream or whatever, or fulfill his prophecy type of deal. Again, he's fighting for a new world title that doesn't have the same equality of importance, or just, again, a consolation prize, rather to the title that matters really more. And the title that he actually won, that matters honestly more than the title he's fighting for. I mean, sure, having this title main eventing the show more than the world title, than the WWE title, it does help now give a little bit more importance. Because at least it treats as equal, where there'll be some cases that the World Heavyweight title will main event and the WWE title will main event one time. I mean, that's how it used to be back in the day when wrestling, like when they had two world titles back in like the early days of the Ruthless Aggression era. I mean, in the Ruthless Aggression era in general, and even the early days of the PG era. You like guys like Edge, Batista, John Cena, when they were World Heavyweight Champion, they main evented the shows. Even The Undertaker, right? Like guys like them, like because of their star power, they were able to help the world title main event just as much as the WWE title. When the WWE title was held at the time, like with John Cena, Triple H, Randy Orton, that was the beauty. So it was cool. That was cool that we could see. But again, at the same time, when the WWE titles matches were happening, world title matches were happening, when they had two championships, if they all have one world like two world title matches, the world, like one of the world title matches will be at least in the semi-main event or at least in the mid-show, which is like what I would rather do. You could like the mid-card title should be like the one opening the show, but it's like it's no big deal. In the end of the day, what they're doing, it's okay. You know, it's not the end of the world. Because again, keep in mind the I Quit match, it does help the show. Having that match open the show gets you a bit excited. So I'm not really angry about that. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, the main event. McIntyre had a big ovation. Definitely a big ovation. They were doing this whole crowd meter thing, which, you know, I guess that helps the crowd get so electric, you know, which is kind of okay. But yeah, the crowd was very high on McIntyre. That's for damn sure. They freaking were going crazy over McIntyre. No doubt about that. They loved McIntyre. The problem, though, I mean, actually, there's no problem. Honestly, his entrance was really good. They had bagpipe people. They were like, you know, blowing. They were bagpipe blowers. You know, so it helped the moment too. It was good. It just a lot of people are saying like, oh, there was no broken dreams, which like the original entrance they did back in the original Clash of the Castle. I understand, but at the same time, I don't know if people didn't see this or not. Maybe it depends on how they're paying. Like what I'm paying for Peacock, they had a video package where they showed Broken Dreams. So they played Broken Dreams actually in the video package of McIntyre's promo. So technically we did get Broken Dreams. So like I'm kind of, but I get like, you know, before him coming out would have been kind of cool. I get it, you know. But again, it's like it would have been kind of the same situation what they did back in Clash of the Castle 2 years ago. Again, Broken Dreams, big crowd ovation for McIntyre, and loses. And again, it was kind of predictable and also kind of like understand, kind of like you got expected that McIntyre was going to lose. But obviously, you had still people that are hoping that he's going to win. So, but yeah, Priest got booed coming out. But yeah, McIntyre basically he was the babyface, even though technically he's a heel. But whatever, it's no big deal, I guess. Again, McIntyre, that's the funny thing. He's like a heel, but kind of tweener in a sense, where he still will get people cheering him. Like, I don't know, unless he's, I mean, I wouldn't mind if he officially is like a tweener. But in the same case, it's like, you know, again, you're doing heelish things, so like, whatever. But yeah. McIntyre versus Priest. The match was actually not a bad match. It was a good match. Big men, you know, definitely they look like stars in this match. Priest, the problem with Damian Priest is again, them before having him win the World Heavyweight Championship, they had him lose a bunch of times as Money in Bank. That's not a good thing. And also him like, you know, being like, you know, kind of like sidelined with the Judgment Day, where like it holds him back from looking like a world champion or like looking like actually freaking tough or badass or whatever. And also like his music is not really that good, to be honest with you. It's like, who the fuck even remembers his music or how it goes? But regardless, Damian Priest, you know, he does look like a star. He can be a star. The match was very good. They had like McIntyre and Priest, you know, grappling, and then eventually leads to McIntyre doing a flip. Eventually, McIntyre got overwhelmed by Damian Priest, but then he kept coming back. Priest was about to do a flip to McIntyre, but then he got stuck on the ropes with his feet, and it affected him during the match. Props to Damian Priest because he carried on during the match, but he carried on with a sort of twisted ankle, and like, damn. You know, like, damn, like, that affected him throughout the match, but he still went through it. People say, oh, maybe he's selling or whatever, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like it was planned at all. It was also mentioned to me in Scrum that, like, he got to get checked out. And I definitely got worried, and I think a lot of people got worried, just like, really, oh, man, at this time when there's a bunch of injuries in wrestling nowadays, we can't afford to have this guy be injured, you know, or world champion. Not that, like, Damian Priest is, like, a big star. It's just, again, with booking, with WWE's booking, they don't make him look like a big star. But, like, and that's the problem with him, like, winning originally the title in his title reign. But at the same time, you know, he's still the world champion. And he's still, like, you know, the purpose should be to try and make him look good or whatever. It's not good timing when he's the world champion, he gets injured, you know what I mean? So sadly, he did look like he twisted his ankle during the match, especially with him getting stuck, and that affected him. He eventually got out of the ropes, but like you could see him rolling his foot, like working throughout the match with the foot, but he still was able to freaking fight, which was pretty cool. You know, him fighting through the match. Good on Damian Priest. He was a professional in this match. You know, big moves during the match. I would say again, my problem with this match is like, it didn't need to be too long than it needed to be. It honestly could have just, you know, even with the big moves, it didn't need to be pacing too much. I'm not a fan of false finishes. Again, too much false finishes in wrestling nowadays. I honestly think that with McIntyre doing the Claymore and Priest kicking out, that kind of weakens the finisher. In my honest, or I don't see Damian Priest as credible enough to like kick out of that yet. You know what I mean? I get he's the world champion, and world champions should have some resiliency. But like seeing him kicking out of the Claymore easily, like already now, it's kind of like too soon. I would rather just like, you know, one Claymore by McIntyre, but that could have been like during when the referee was knocked out or whatever. But yeah, so eventually, you know, there was a moment where like, oh yeah, like Priest did like a Hurricanrana, which was freaking crazy. And Priest then he does also his finisher, McIntyre kicking out of two, which I have no problem with. But then like we did see McIntyre eventually doing his Claymore, and he kicks out, and then Priest kicks out of two, which is like really, like kind of like, you know, for a guy again with McIntyre being guys like Brock Lesnar with 3 Claymores or whatever, and it's just like it kind of like, you know, I don't see like, you know, Priest as that sort of wrestler where he's like in the tier where Brock Lesnar could kick out a bunch of Claymores type of shit, you know what I mean? Eventually we did see McIntyre do a Claymore to Priest, drew the barricade, which to me, like, again, breaking the barricade move is so overdone. But then eventually we see McIntyre, he tosses the Priest to the ring. I think he kicked out of that, I'm not sure, but again, like, I don't really like that, like, again, kicking out a bunch of Claymores. Referee does get knocked out. We then see like McIntyre, who was about to get beaten by Priest, but like with his finisher, but then McIntyre reverses it. Eventually, you know, rebounded after that, does the Claymore. 1, 2, 3. We're looking for the referee. The referee's knocked out, but then enough referee comes in. You know, we see it, and then we see it where they presented the camera shot. We don't see who the referee is. 1, 2. The referee stops, and then reveals to be CM Punk. A bit predictable towards the ending. We knew that Punk was going to be there. But it's well done. Honestly, it's not a bad idea how they did it. We knew that's what was going to happen. That Punk was going to be in this match in some way, shape, or form to cost McIntyre the match. And he did. He stops counting. McIntyre's furious. He gets He gets Punk to the corner. Then low blow by Punk. And then he shoves McIntyre down. Priest takes a finish, does his finisher, the jumping, was it high choke slam south of heaven, and that's how Priest wins. Mega heat. People thought Punk was getting so booed. He didn't get booed. Obviously, there were fans that were booing, but you still had like some CM Punk fans. So Punk looks like he's not gonna die in Scotland or whatever. So yeah. And that's how the show ends. It also ends with a video recap of the show. And yeah, the show ends with Punk standing tall, you know, celebrating with the Skies crowd, while McIntyre is furious and sad, and Priest standing tall as champion.